welcome back, everyone. I am absolutely delighted to be interviewing my next guest. I'd like to introduce to you Jaki Sabourin. Jaki has been voted best female relationship expert by her peers. She is a coach, speaker, author, and CEO of Engaged at Any Age, which was created to be a sanctuary for high-value women ready to awaken to their feminine power and create the life and relationship of their dreams. Jaki's wit and no-nonsense attitude have led to thousands of clients meeting their ideal man. She herself met her husband on Match and married at 50. Jaki, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me in your wonderful event. I'm so excited to get started.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, well, I'd like to start just by asking you to share a little bit about your journey. How did you come to be one of the nation's most sought after female relationship coaches?
I love this question because I love sharing my story, and I think a lot of women watching will be able to relate to it. I went through a painful divorce, and which left me feeling, like there was no future for me. I lost my identity. When you're married, you have this wife identity. So then I became a divorcee, and I had an identity crisis. Who am I? What's my value? My value was largely wrapped around my marriage and my identity to being a mother, a wife, etc. So I really found myself I feel like I went down a rabbit hole and was really depressed and struggling and then really overwhelmed with the idea of dating again. You think you get married and it's going to be forever. And so I really was struggling, and I was looking online and everywhere. And this was little more than 10 years ago, for somebody to support me, a coach. I didn't really want to go down the therapist, even though I had done therapy, which is super helpful. So that has its purpose. But I wanted to have something that was going to empower me for my lifetime. I wanted to change the way who I'd become, because through a lot of anger and strife when you're married and you're going through a divorce, I became a woman that I wasn't proud of. And so I really wanted to up level my thinking and empower myself and set a good example for my daughter. And I really couldn't find anybody. Even though it's just 10 years ago, so much has changed. There's so many more options online now, especially since the pandemic.
So
So
true.
I decided to be that person, that advocate for women that I could not find. So I got myself, I went and started to study psychology and became certified as a spiritual life coach and self-mastery teacher, and I studied meditation and etc. And I really empowered myself, and I changed my entire life without having to change my lifestyle. So what I mean by that is that the work that I do, you don't have to give something up. People think, oh, I have to give up, I have to change, I have to make like drastic changes, but it's just really a lot of mindset, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of healing, and more emotional intelligence, which I was really lacking through all the pain. So once I was able to forgive, I was able to move on, let go, and start to live my own life. And things just really started to pick up for me from that point. And I launched my coaching practice, and about the same time that I was starting to date again. So the conversations were really relevant. And that was really exciting for me, because what I was learning, I was actually turning around and teaching my clients. And I think life experience is probably the best teacher out there. And I met a wonderful man in the process online. We actually lived next door to each other for an entire year, never met. Literally, we lived next door. We had garages next door to each other, but I never met him. And then I moved a couple blocks away and went online and met him online. So
You're
I think
kidding.
there's a
So it
lot.
wasn't until you moved away that then you got into relationship with the guy that had been right next door the whole time.
But we never met. Even though we were living next door, we didn't have the same circles. I didn't see
Wow.
him around town. And so online, there he was, and we ended up, getting married, and we're very happy. This is the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. That's why I was so excited to be a part of your event. This is such a ideal time for women to really rise and to help lift each other up along the way, because this is the best time of our lives. We have the wisdom, we're more grounded, we're more mature, and I'm having an amazing experience, and I really want to share that and help other women do the same.
Oh, that's such a wonderful message. So empowering. I love that, Jaki. And, you touched a little bit on mindset, and this is probably an area that it's so foundational, isn't it, to being in a good relationship? Because really the first relationship that we need to attend to is the relationship with ourselves. If that's not a solid relationship, then how can we possibly be in a healthy relationship with another person? So I'm wondering, um, when it seems like many of the women that I talk to, they'll say to me, I keep meeting the same guy over and over again. I mean, not the same guy, but the same type. I keep meeting this same type over and over again. And what I will say is, well, it's probably because you've got to do more work on yourself first. And is that your experience? And can you talk a little bit about the mindset shift that's required in order to get to a healthier place where we can then start attracting the ideal partner?
Absolutely. That there's a lot of moving parts to what you just said. But I think the most important thing, the starting point is when you find that you're attracting a similar type of man, even friends, it's we have to start to look at, the common denominator is me. So what can I do? So it's not about fixing yourself. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. But as humans, we gravitate towards patterns, and we lock those patterns in because we are addicted to our comfort zones, because the human psyche is all about feeling safe, right? We want to feel safe, and fear is all about not feeling safe. So we control to feel safe, because that's the whole goal of our mind. So we have to learn to step out of our comfort zone more and more to try out different things. But it's very hard if we're in a pattern. Like, certain men will attract us over and over and over again. And I think that it's so interesting that midlife is really an ideal time to start really doing that excavation, that inner excavation. And that's really what it requires. And a lot of women, I find, are afraid of it. They don't understand it, but it is the most rewarding thing you could ever do, to really go within and learn how to get to know yourself, what patterns you have, become more self-aware. When you have that self-awareness, so when you're on a date or you're talking to a man, and you notice, because you're aware of yourself, you start to behave in a certain way. So you can start to see the pattern. And once you spot it, then you can change it. So it just really starts with having a willingness, having the mindset of growth and evolution over a lifetime. It's not just one and done. I have people say, "Yeah, I did a lot of work on myself last year." I'm like, "Okay, keep going." It's an ongoing process. You're never done. And the beautiful thing is, it's like a rose. We're always blooming and pruning. So we're like, have to cut ourselves back a little bit and prune, and then we can blossom even more. Why they prune roses is because the blooms, when you do, the blooms get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so sometimes we get afraid of to have more experiences to open our heart to love again, but we fail to realize that those experiences are the very thing that makes us who we are, and makes us hold more, so we can have more, do more, and be more. So the mindset, I think, is the first thing, and it's that self-intimacy. We need to learn to be more intimate with ourselves, and without judging. So I think that's a hard thing for women. We're very critical on ourselves, but when we start to pay attention to our inner voice, we start to notice more and more what thoughts we're paying more attention to. We can start to choose and I know it sounds like a cliche, right? Choose the best feeling thoughts, but it's really that simple. I have a choice every day to choose an abundant thought over a fear-based thought. We give so much time to sadness. Why don't we give as much time that we do to sadness, to joy? If you think about it, like, we're so quick to give up our joy with something sad on the news, there goes your joy. So I would love to inspire the women to not be so quick to give up that joy, happy feeling, because it creates more of that. Likes attract like. It really requires a commitment to a path of personal growth and self-discovery, which I think is the most exciting path to be on middle-aged.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Jackie. And I love your analogy of the blooming and pruning, because that is so true. Our gardeners in the audience will relate to that beautifully, I'm sure. But I also wanted to just highlight, you mentioned a kind of excavation, and I love that term because it suggests that the answers are within us. So an excavation site, we dig until we get down to the thing that we're searching for, and it's inside us, isn't it? It's not something that's been applied to us externally. It's already in us, and it's really more a process of shedding the layers of self-doubt, self-criticism, perfectionism, any of the other isms that have weighed so heavily on us for such a long time. You, in your journey, you must have experienced, I'm sure of it, because the photos I've seen of you, you're such a radiant person. You must have felt lighter for having done the work and having, lifted off those heavy layers.
Absolutely. I feel every day I wake up and I'm just so happy to be alive. I'm so grateful. Gratitude has a lot to do with it, but it's not quite that simple. What I feel has been one of the biggest challenges for people, and women specifically, is that we're born to, and we're conditioned because we have to survive, to seek approval externally. We need approval from our parents. We need approval from our community when we're children. We thrive on it. But then when we mature physically, nobody gives us a book and says, okay, the parenting's over. We're done with our part. Now you're going to have to take up your own parentings. But we continue on this path of looking external, seeking external approval. And that's when we start to lose self-trust and self-doubt, because we don't always get approval from others. Or maybe somebody doesn't call you back, you get ghosted, or a relationship doesn't work out. And so we are constantly seeking to form these unhealthy like attachments to people, in seeking some kind of validation or affirmation about who we are and if we're good enough, and etc. And until we become aware, really aware of that tendency, that pattern, I call it a belly button issue. Everybody has it because everybody has a belly button. So until we become really aware of this what do we want to call it, this neurotic need for external approval, then we really can't begin to empower ourselves. It's when we take control of that and start to look to ourselves for our approval, start to doing more self-parenting, unconditional self-love, self-acceptance, boundary work, and intimacy with yourself. When you start to kind of take all that, that's how you take your power back. Because otherwise we're just leaking our energy to all these people around us, and it's very draining. It's like that's where we're sourcing our energy from. So I think that would be a good starting point, is to recognize that real approval only comes from within, and the real validation, the something that lasts, that really makes you feel good about yourself, is something you can give yourself right now. And that's really what, if we're talking about dating, what men are looking for, a woman that is grounded in that, because it's kind of frankly a turnoff. When I was going through my divorce and afterwards, I was very insecure, and I was needy, and I was behaving that way, and so it was pushing men away. I wasn't confident, and it was a reflection. It was reflected in the type of men I was dating, and it was like, how did I end up here? Well, it's because you become codependent when you're married, and I was still very codependent. I was looking for somebody else to fill that void that I was feeling. Fortunately, I learned and decided to commit to filling that with what comes naturally from within. I just needed a step-by-step process, and then it was quite easy. The rest is elementary. And just a willingness to want to reconnect with yourself, because I think that our society kind of takes it away from, we move away from that, generally speaking, of course. And then as we have hardship, that starts to open our eyes to, we need to find another way. So pain is the motivator. We don't have to learn through pain. Once you learn through pain, you're like, I got it. I am now keep learning. So pain does
Yeah.
have a purpose, because it helps us to become
Oh,
aware.
that's so true. That's so true. I couldn't agree more. And now I know you talk about conscious love. And is that what you're referring to here? Conscious love? It's this really deliberate decision.
Yes, when I talk about conscious love, like having conscious love with someone else, I feel that we are here to heal each other. A lot of people erroneously think that a man's going to make you happy. Relationships are to make you happy. No, relationships are to make you aware, so that you can be happy. So people come into your life and they push all your buttons, they step on your upset feelings, so that you can become more aware of them. But what happens is we tend to blame the other person for that, when really it's coming from us. It was already inside of us.
Mhm.
And so if we become more conscious of the root causes of these things, and the painful experiences we have, and we heal them thoroughly, then we aren't bringing all of our baggage into the relationship. And even if we are, we'll be able to see, is it me? or is it you? 90% it's me. Because if I feel like I know it's if I can see it in you, I probably have experienced it or something about it's resonated in me as well. So I have a wonderful relationship with my husband because we had committed to a path of a conscious relationship where we agreed to come together for the purpose of personal growth and evolution. And by keeping that commitment, we're so happy because we're taking responsibility for our own feelings. I don't say, you made me feel. I say, I felt. I felt sad when this happened. I don't say, you made me feel. My husband doesn't have the power to make me feel anything. I feel. I own my feelings, and when I own my feelings, then I have control over changing them, nurturing them, and whatever the course of action needs depending on how I'm feeling. So that's
Yeah.
that makes
If there's one message out of this that I hope lands with our audience, it's that exactly, that it's really in our control, isn't it? It's really up to us. And it's not for that other person to make us happy. It's that we're responsible for ourselves, and we decide, consciously, as you've termed it, to
yeah.
to find the love and to be in a truly loving, supportive, fulfilling relationship. And it's not easy, but it's worthwhile. um because I think we've all had those relationships that didn't serve us for one reason or another. Some stay in them longer than others, but why not have a relationship that's truly fulfilling, truly loving, truly healthy, mature,
I think that what makes it not easy, because I do believe it's easy, but I think that what makes it feel like it's not easy is that we've had heartbreak. We've
yeah.
had painful experiences. And when we haven't fully reconciled those within ourselves, not with the other person, within ourselves, and then it makes the next relationship very arduous. But when we take ultimate personal responsibility, so we're responsible for everything, then we really are in the ultimate control. We really can control our choices. And when it comes to choices, I just want to say it's so important that women make choices that are good for them now and later. A lot of times women make choices that are good for them now, that instant gratification. But if we make choices for ourselves mid-age now and later, so the choice we make is going to serve us both now and later, we actually collapse time. We save time because later that choice is going to pay off, and it's paying off now. And so it's really all about aligned actions at this stage. It's so important because everybody's talking about we're running out of time, or, time is your most precious asset. Well, if you want to look at time as it's not really speed, but it's your choices can really save you time. So it takes less time to get ready at a regular pace than it does to rush. If you ever tried to rush to get ready, you like stab yourself in the eye with your mascara, then you have to clean it, then your eye's red, then you have to. So it takes more time to speed up than it does to be grounded.
It's
But
so true. Yeah.
it's just the way of life that we have to embrace to become more self-empowered.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Jackie, can you talk a little bit about the mistakes that women typically make, and especially because it is a unique time in our lives when we get to this midpoint, these middle years. What are the typical kinds of mistakes that you see women making, and what guidance can you give to help avoid them?
I think that women are really lacking confidence, and they go into a dating situation, and men are really attracted to confident women. So confidence comes from personal credibility, like your personal experiences with yourself. That's what makes me feel confident. It's not necessarily degrees or my work, because those things are circumstantial. That's circumstantial confidence. We get those from learning a skill, and then I'm confident about coaching because I've been doing it. I've learned skill. But what really gives me confidence is my connection to me, my authenticity and being genuine. So I think that it's very hard for middle-aged women to become or be vulnerable and authentic, because we've spent so much of our life already having to wear, the boss's hat or run a career and raise children, which is all very masculine energy, and it's all great. But then we turn around to a man and we're still in that mode, that masculine do mode. and we come across more bossy, and it also doesn't show a sign. Like, I was tying this together with confidence and vulnerability, is a man wants to know where he can win in your life, right? That's the kind of secret sauce to getting a man to connect with you, or having a connection with a man, I should say, not getting him, is that is your ability to make that emotional connection. So when you're not feeling confident, you can't be authentic and you can't be in your feminine energy. Men, you don't connect with men. So I think confidence it's a really plays a big part in how well you're going to live this part of our lives, is just really digging deep to become more confident in yourself. And that's self competence, you can say competence, and it goes back to doing that inner work to clear out all the things that would surprise you, to keep you from being vulnerable with a man. And vulnerable and authentic, just as a matter of, it's okay to float into some honesty about how you feel about things. It's okay to show emotions if you're emotional about something. I'm not saying bawling your head off, but just being moved by something and showing a softer side of you, showing a vulnerable side, allowing a man to lead. A lot of women, with that masculine energy are wanting to direct, to control, and we're all very good at it because we spend our life doing that. And so it's very hard for us to not turn that off, but to kind of flip it over the other side of it so that we can just kind of receive. And that's more of the feminine vibe. And so if we can learn to receive more, saying yes more, allowing, seeing, going with the flow, seeing what he's going to do. One of the biggest benefits to dating that I teach is see what he does. Just sit back and watch him. He will reveal who he is very quickly. But women, we want to jump in there. Is he going to call me back? Has he text? Should I text him again? Should I text him again? And then we without meaning to, we're pushing men away. And so I think confidence is the key, and we get that from the direct connection to ourselves that can be unflappable when we're really connected to ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. So you met your husband on Match, and I'm certain there will be lots of women in our audience who have experienced online dating,
Yeah,
for better or for worse.
yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that, and about how, for those women who are looking to find someone, and it is probably the most popular way to find a partner now, I would say. So what can you tell us about that?
So I just want to inspire all the women watching. If you are single and you're wanting to get out there, or you haven't dated in decades, I remember online dating had a big like taboo years ago. Even when I started online dating, it was like it was like the worst case scenario. You couldn't meet anybody anywhere else. You had to go online.
Mhm.
But it's not the case anymore. Like you just said, it is the most popular, easiest, safest way to meet somebody. But the problem that I see happening is that women don't realize that it's a skill set. It's a skill that you have to learn so that you can manage it properly in a way that is fun for you, that excites you. You get to meet some wonderful men. You get to meet some not so wonderful men, but you actually use. I like to look at online dating as a personal growth platform. It's a way to actually grow yourself very quickly because all your buttons are going to get pushed, especially your self-esteem and your confidence, because you're really having to put yourself out there in a way that feels very, very vulnerable. But very quickly, once you jump in, you'll discover is a system and a routine. A strategy is a better word for it because it is a strategy where you can successfully use the online dating platforms and not feel like they're using you. And I think it's a especially right now, the weather's nice. We can be outside in all of our dates. It's safer to be outside. And it's a wonderful way to kind of get back into the swing of things. And I just can't say enough about online dating, not just because I met my husband, but because I've helped so many women that really were not in a position to actually go out, and they couldn't meet anybody, and they didn't know how to meet and marry, wonderful men. So I think it's really wonderful. It's just so important though to learn how to use the sites properly and how to stay safe on the sites, and to give it a good 60 days as a learning curve to establish the routine that you're going to go through until you meet somebody.
Mm. Yeah, I heard a friend of mine said the other day something about, because she's been going through Some of the more challenging stuff with online dating, but she's just taking it, as you said, it's a process. She's learning a ton from it, and she's come to the point where now she says that, if she gets a no, it's a no, but for her it's just next. Okay, this was not the guy for me. The next guy could be the guy, and that's one step closer to the guy, and that's her. It's shifted everything for her. She feels definitely more confident, as you've said, which is so important. And she's just relaxed about it. She's not feeling like this guy has to be the guy and I've got to make it work no matter what. She'll just say, nope, it's not the right fit. I've learned from this. I've learned a little bit. Next.
Yes, absolutely. Next is our power word. So it's not a rejection, it's a redirection. When a man
Mm,
doesn't follow up or call you back, I just say you just got redirected. It's a universal intervention, and you just quickly have to be able to move on from that.
mhm.
And that goes back to why it's so difficult for women to move on and feel so rejected from a guy that doesn't even respond to an email, which is okay if you're emailing a guy online and doesn't respond. That's fair. It's fair game. It's the criteria is you don't have to unless you feel there's a connection. And unless it's a really nice letter, then you can say thanks. You can show your appreciation. But then women get so devastated by that, and I think they feel that rejection. And again, it goes back to that approval. They didn't get the approval, and so their approval issues get triggered, which makes them doubt themselves and lose faith in the process. And so it does require a lot of trust in yourself. Trust that you will have your back. You'll protect your boundaries. You'll use your vote with your feet if you have to leave a situation. You'll hang up. We have power that I think women forget, so they kind of revert to some childlike behavior to protect their boundaries. But so it is a skill, ladies. If you're wanting to get online, just do your due diligence, learn as much as you can, and expect it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster until you settle, kind of sink into a routine, just like anything else, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's such good advice, Jackie. I cannot believe how quickly the time has gone
I
by.
know.
I
I
feel like we're just getting started, and I just want to keep picking your brain and learning more from you. But let me invite you to share. You've got an amazing gift for our audience. So could you share what that is?
Absolutely. So, in the spirit of talking about online dating, I thought it would be really helpful to put together a training on one of the most popular dating apps, one that I recommend, which is Bumble. And so, because it's perfect for the middle-aged community, and so I put together a training on how to. So, what I do is it's a video where I'm sharing my client's screen. She's so generous to work with me on this, so I can share this with all of you. Where we actually go onto her app, and I'm helping her talk to men, putting a lot of men in her, we call it the beehive or the funnel,
Yep.
and showing you how the app works, and just really giving you a front row seat to kind of like a cheat sheet on how to launch a successful Bumble online profile. And to help you even further, I'm going to give you my Ready, Set, Go portable online dating profiles. These are two profiles, a full one and a mini, that are already written for you. You're just going to pop in some basic information where you're going to see it's highlighted so that you can get over the stress. I don't know how to write a profile. Men love these profiles. They perform. They're awesome. They're a compilation over the years with my clients. So this is going to help you get a jump start to online dating so you can start to feel confident about what you're doing.
Oh, wow, that is amazing and so generous, Jackie. Thank you. I can absolutely see why you have been voted best female coach. It's not a surprise at all.
You.
Thank you. Well, it's been so wonderful talking to you and learning from you. Thank you very much for being here with us. I know that the email will just light up with questions, and there'll be lots and lots of traffic at your site as well. So thank you for that. I will be putting information where you can get this beautiful set of gifts from Jackie in the email. And so watch for that in your inbox. Jackie, thank you again. It's just been wonderful.
It's been my pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.